What's going on, everyone? Happy Monday. And welcome back to the week. Hope you had a great holiday weekend. Thanksgiving and the holidays always throw me off schedule, but hope you and your loved ones had a great weekend, great time. We got a lot to discuss here because, of course, the sports world does not sleep because of the holiday. I mean, technically, I guess news was dormant for Thanksgiving itself. But then you know what? The next day, the sun comes up and there's moves around MLB. We're going to talk about that. There's a new closer in Baltimore. Ryan Helsley is the new ninth inning guy for the Birds. We'll talk about that. And then there's some rumors heating up around Pete Alonso, Kyle Tucker, Bo Bichette. We'll talk about all of that. And then, we got to talk about football because if you did have a good Thanksgiving in Baltimore, it was probably good until about 8:20 p.m. Eastern time. And then you had a very sour evening. But the Ravens lost, the Steelers lost, and there's a lot of commotion. Harbaugh had some comments about the run game, and the Steelers look like they're imploding internally, externally, you name it, they're talking about it. Then we got some things we got to cover throughout the weekend. By the way, college football is insane, and not because of the actions of rivalry week, is that it's the wild, wild west, and a coach in Lane Kiffin is going to leave a college football playoff team to go to LSU. Losing my breath. We'll talk about that and a whole lot more, but let's show you who is in the building and if he's ready to rock because he just got in here. Brad?
Whoop. What up?
Hey, man. Great timing, by the way.
I told you I was going to be cutting it close, but I made it. Man. Listen, we don't talk about it enough on this show, to be quite frank with you, but Formula One has been full of drama. And it's been since 2021 that the final race comes down to who wins the whole thing, and that happens this weekend. Well, you and I are on a plane, by the way, so leave me alone on the plane. We'll be watching the race.
That early it's going to be going on?
It's in Abu Dhabi, and it's at like 8 o'clock in the morning.
So we're going to have to, you know what? Can we find the time different for that? What time it's going to be going on when we're
in Abu Dhabi?
Hours? Yeah, 12 hours, 13-hour difference, 6-hour difference.
No, I think it's like a 8-hour difference. I want to say it's like, I don't know, like 10 o'clock at night over there, something like that.
Well, maybe we can ask Zach because he helped us find out what,
2:06 a.m. currently.
Okay, there it is.
6 a.m. So 7 hours.
7 hours.
No, 8 hours.
No, that would be
why
9.
9 hours. Sorry. I can't do math.
The math isn't great here.
It's a Monday.
It's Monday.
It is a Monday.
But Zach, you helped us explain that sometimes in Alaska there's no sun, and sometimes you explain what the time is in Abu Dhabi. But Bali, welcome back.
Yeah, just good to be here. I will say, happy Thanksgiving, late Thanksgiving again. But something that this weekend, like I realized because I was with my girlfriend's family in Kentucky, is even just being that much more west gives you like 45 more minutes of sunlight.
Oh yeah.
And it was just so nice of like, oh yeah, the sun's starting to go down at 5 o'clock, but like at 5:30 is sunset instead of here. It's like 4:40. You're like, oh wow, it's almost pitch black. Yeah. So I got teased with that. And then obviously came back here and just excited to talk about a lot of,
bro, when I was in Charlotte,
sport.
It was still Eastern time zone. But it was still like 45 minutes later.
Yeah.
Like in the summertime, the sun wasn't completely down, or like it wasn't completely dark until like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I mean it's 5:08, and the sun is down here.
Oh yeah,
it's gone. You know what? No, it's down.
It's down.
It's down. It's the winter, and you know what?
It's black back here.
It's officially December now, guys. It's December 1st today, right? Meow. Thanksgiving has come and gone, and now it's the holiday season. Christmas is in 3 weeks.
It's the holiday season.
Wouldn't the holiday season, though, be included? This is what I never understood.
Well, it's the Christmas holiday.
Yeah, because I feel like I
season.
Include the holiday season, but I include the holiday season like the day before Thanksgiving on. Like that's the holiday season. I don't know if the Tuesday or one day before Thanksgiving, if I'm considering that the holiday season, but I do definitely consider.
It starts on Thanksgiving Day because, that's when the parade starts. When the parade starts, it's the holiday season.
Some people, I swear, some people think the holiday season starts November 1st. And by some people, I mean my wife. Like November 1st
for
hits.
her, it starts September 1st.
It actually,
we really want to get down to it.
If she could put Christmas time in the summer, she would.
Yeah.
The Christmas tree went up on Halloween.
Yeah.
Came back from a trip and whammy, that thing's up. But I get it. It does come and go quick. So all of you just let us know, when do you consider the holiday time? And we'll have that debate throughout the rest of the year. But officially, I think we can all agree December, the holiday music is, you can't argue that. It's your time to shine now. Not it should be November or leading up in December. You know what? Enjoy your time. There's a lot of holiday classics. We'll get into some of ours later on in the month.
I like that.
That's fun.
Yeah.
You know what's also fun? If you are looking for a great cyber deal this Monday, guys, you know it was Black Friday savings. Now it's Cyber Monday, December 1st, and we got to shout out Merit Clubs because guess what? Their deal is you sign up right now, $1 the rest of the year, $1. We talked about 3-day free trial passes. You can try out Merit for $1 here the rest of this year in 2025. Zach, how do you spell $1?
MERRITT.
And when I move, you move.
Just like that.
And we appreciate our friends over at Merit Clubs. Check out meritclubs.com for more on their offers. And obviously, I've had people ask me about recipes and their whole wellness. That is also located at meritclubs.com. Guys, why don't we discuss some baseball? Because one of the moves that did happen, of course, it's an Orioles-related move. And I had kind of a feeling in my plums that there was going to be a move. I was hoping it was going to be Friday when I wasn't traveling. But, of course, it's right when I'm going through the mountains of West Virginia.
Yeah, the Orioles are famous for that.
Just death taxes, and we're going to make these moves when you think it's going to be the most inconvenient for you. So, for me, it was a little inconvenient. But it's not inconvenient for the fans. They'll take it. Yeah. There's a closer in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Ryan Helsley.
There we go.
Come on down. And Jeff Passan, he reported it. It's going to be a 2-year deal, opt out after year one, essentially a $14 million option, which then there's the stoppage. And, you know, if Helsley pitches well, does he go back into the free agency market? Does he not? But there it is, Jeff Passan. And the other part with Helsley is he was considering converting to a starter. Well, nope. He's going to be the 9th inning guy for Baltimore. And fellas, you know how I feel about roles. The Orioles needed the closer role filled. And it's filled. And I'll be honest, I'm not surprised that Ryan Helsley was the choice. But I think the conversation is who is the best closer out there during this free agency market and piece. I think he fits the mold. I think he's probably one of the cheapest of the options. I think Robert Suarez, and Diaz are going to command more money overall. And the Orioles, though, they got a good deal, and they're banking on Ryan Helsley bouncing back here after it was a rough 2025 for a lot of reasons.
I'm going to say it was a rough end to 2025 because he was actually, funny enough, I think it was like through August 5th, he had a quote-unquote down year for himself, but through August 5th, he had like a 2.70 ERA.
Yeah.
Like this is – and I know people can say this is a cop-out or, oh, I'm just drinking the orange Kool-Aid or on this. I do not count when you go play for a Mets team that is in the middle of just an all-out collapse. It's hard to just suddenly move to that team, and now they're collapsing. You're out of your position because, hey, you're used to being the guy in the 9th inning. Now you're an 8th inning guy because they have Diaz. So they're trying to create a super pen. I don't think that worked out for any team that tried to create a super pen, especially in New York last year. And it just felt like the whole situation, he was set up for failure. Nothing good was happening in New York. So if you want to say, hey, you know, I've seen stats about, you know, okay, the fastball was getting hit all year. You know, maybe some movement on the fastball. It has, you know, decreased as the years have gone by. If that's something you want to bring up, yes. But for people being like, oh, he was horrible in New York, so this was a classic Oriole signing. It was a month and a half in a horrendous situation where he would probably tell you, he performed the worst of his entire career. But if you look at just even the year and a half, 2.5 years prior, he was one of, if not the best closer in baseball. I mean, 2024, this guy had 49 saves.
Mm-hmm.
It's not easy to do. Even if they give you the ball, 80 times, like 49 saves is 49 saves.
It's pretty damn good. And look, there's always going to be so many sides to this. And Brad, actually, you're the one that always gives the other fan perspective on, well, this is what they could have done or how you're feeling. How would you assess it from that side? Because I know you have some thoughts about this.
I think it's great. I don't think – what's the risk? You need a closer. You got a closer. You can opt out in year 2 and then reassess. Like if Helsley does great, you get an opportunity to bring him back. And then you try to figure out what you do with the Mountain after that if he's healthy. Who knows what he's going to look like, when he is healthy again. And now you don't have to worry about shuffling players around to put on the back end of your bullpen. I know that we've talked about Tyler Wells kind of being potentially a high leverage guy, and now he can go back into the starting rotation. So then that gets a little bit more solidified. For me, I think the club has only gotten better with these 2 moves that we've seen recently, in my opinion. I think the next big move needs to be that top line starter that both Mike Elias and some of the other brass up there in the front office has talked about. For me to feel good about this offseason, it needs to be a showstopper starting pitcher.
Yeah, and my final thing is on, I believe it was July 27th, because I was going through his, just pitches and kind of how he looked last year. I watched him on I believe it was a 2-2 count, paint 102 on the outside corner for a strikeout looking. If you can paint 102 on the outside corner, I want you on my baseball team. And if you not only done that, but have had a below 205 ERA and 49 saves in a single season, I want you as the closer to my baseball team. And it's the simple question. All these moves can be broken down into honestly a singular question, and it's after they are made. It's, did the Baltimore Orioles get better? And the answer is a resounding yes.
I would argue right now, of the teams this offseason, Baltimore has actually improved near the top of the list. And not that a ton of moves have been made, by the way.
Right, that's what I was about to say.
But if you're looking at Mike Elias's list, offseason list, he said they needed a bat. They got Taylor Ward. However you feel about Taylor Ward, dependable player, had over 100 RBIs, and he posts up, he plays 155 games.
Well, and with the talent, there isn't a huge need for a big bat. There just isn't with the current upcoming talent. I mean, who knows what Sam Basayo is going to do in his first full rookie season? We already saw what he did in the first few games.
Yep.
I just think that going and spending a buttload of money on a big bat doesn't make as much sense to me as going out and solidifying your starting pitching rotation.
And I do think that's the priority. To me, a veteran bat always is going to help, because there are guys at the big league level that are trying to figure out who they are, what they do well. And I want to reemphasize, roles matter for players, and not saying that, I need to be the guy that just kind of passes the baton on, or I got to be the guy that can handle long relief situations or high leverage situations. But to be honest, it does matter to have those in place, and they can change over time, but knowing what you have going into this, and ones that you need to have going into the season, you need to know who your closer is going to be to start. That's where this goes. There's no ands, ifs, or buts who's getting the ball in the 9th inning. You don't want to do a closer by committee if you don't have to. So Helsley checks that box. For the Orioles on their lineup, you have a pretty good indication, but there could be some sleepers that we'll talk about in a little bit. But it makes a team better off when you have the expectation. And I'll use the example of why it's important. When guys know what their role is going into the year, there at least is something to build off of. Now, if things don't go right, opportunities for other players can jump in. One that pops up to me was actually the Blue Jays, because it was injuries. Nathan Lucas, Barger, 2 outfielders for them that made impacts because of injuries and players misperforming. And actually, Santander was one of those guys where he was signed to be the guy, play every day. And unfortunately for Tony, he was hurt. So that opened up opportunities for those Blue Jays players, and they took advantage, but that was their plan going in. The Orioles, you can't mess around with the back end. I still think they need one more high leverage guy.
Yeah.
Do not expect now Robert Suarez or Diaz or Fairbanks or whoever else is considered a closer. He ain't coming to Baltimore, and I wouldn't like that, because one of the biggest issues for the Mets and for Helsley is you took out a guy from his closer role and asked him to be put into a role that he has not been comfortable or he hasn't shined in. And the Mets had so many issues. And Zach, you alluded to this. Don't judge the back end for Ryan Helsley here on a Mets team that was just trying to stay above water. And they didn't. They drowned. They could not figure it out. And it wasn't a talent issue. They could not figure out how to win. And I think part of it was they messed with their roles. Guys lost confidence. And then they didn't have the same results. It makes zero sense to me that Ryan Helsley then all of a sudden, after the last 4 years combined, if I have this correct, actually from his time in St. Louis in 2025, all the way back, if we want to go to 2022, those 4 years of being a Cardinal, no ERA eclipsed 3. None. And then he goes to the Mets, and for 22, you take him out of the role. He's pitching in situations where there's blowouts too, which I will show for our channel members for the Rips Better Kids, give you a breakdown of what I'm talking about. He was put in situations that he's never in. I'm buying the bounce back of a guy that you said throws fuzz, Zach, has a slider that's a good out pitch, and has proven that he's that guy, and he's not out of his prime. So buy the bounce back. It's a good move for the Orioles. And now you're going to see the next domino. And here's one more thing. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what is the next domino, in your opinion, Rip? I mean, obviously I talked about what I would like to see starting pitching wise. Framber Valdez is out there. Feels like a perfect fit. It's going to be $160 million, but we already talked. Apparently the Orioles are willing to spend. So if they are, put their money where their mouth is and get a 5-year $160 for Valdez.
I think
if that happens, I would, and nothing else happened in the offseason from the Orioles standpoint, I would be happy as a clam as an Orioles fan.
Is happy as a clam, is that the new saying? Has that been a saying?
Because I am
happy?
Yeah. Yeah, you never heard that
before?
I mean, look, your grandpa said it, probably, with a few more colorful words if we're talking about your grandpa. But
yeah, true.
Grandpas usually say that stuff, so I'm whatever. I'm an old man. So
but yeah, the point is, you would be ecstatic if the Orioles signed Framber Valdez.
Yes, give me that big arm that we were missing last year, and with all of our guys coming back healthy, Bradish, Tyler Wells, that crew, Dean Kramer, who we haven't talked enough about. Mm-hmm. I think, in my opinion, you get a Framber Valdez in there, that rotation is solid, and you can't be upset with the front office or Mike Elias for that matter if he goes out and signs a big arm or makes a big trade. Look, Framber Valdez type pitcher is what they need. If it's not Framber, make a big trade with someone who's looking to, get a bunch of prospects or do a rebuild, whatever, but give me that guy.
Yeah, I will say this, because you asked me then what is the next move? Well, you're saying right now your high leverage reliever for a closer is gone. So you're not worried about the Suarez, the Diaz market. And I'm really curious what that price point's going to be now, because if Helsley going into this offseason wasn't considered the top, I assume that Diaz and Suarez are going to eclipse this $14 million a year.
Yeah.
And here's the reality. Come closer here. I wish I could zoom in like I could on that's
the next upgrade.
The vertical. Whoosh. The reality is, for all these closer options, I said this on Instagram, Robert Suarez, Pete Fairbanks, Ryan Helsley, Diaz, whoever you consider the top closer, the reality is any of those guys could end up being the best free agent closer signing in 2026. They could. Why? They're all really damn good. And if they get on a roll and they stay healthy, they can go out and dominate. So really, you're picking here, who do you think is going to have that year? But the reality is, it's going to be a crapshoot. of who's actually going to go out there and perform to that, because they each have their positive qualities. It just depends on some of the other factors. But what that means, I think they get another high leverage guy, but now that emphasis isn't so important. It meaning that the closers are going to go. Then those secondary options are going to be sitting there waiting, in my opinion. So then you're going to look to the starting rotation and to maybe some of the bats if you're interested. But starting pitching, as soon as one goes, the rest of it's going to snowball here.
Yeah.
I really think the pressure is going to be when a team gets that big arm first. Well, then you're scrambling, who are we getting next? And the Framber Valdez conversation truly is going to be, are you okay with what happened in Houston? Like, is that going to be a problem in your clubhouse? And if the answer is no, he's a gamer. He's a baller. You cannot deny how damn good he is on the bump. The problem is, do you have any doubt that he doesn't fit in your clubhouse? And are you willing to pay out that money? If that is even a thought in your mind, then it's not going to work. And in my mind, you mentioned trade value and markets. So here's a proposition, at least that I'm monitoring. I'm monitoring that the Orioles go more dependable than going for the upside pick. So in this case, Zach Gallen could be an upside pick, but the safest, most dependable option outside of Framber is Ranger Suarez. And I'm still gonna emphasize on that, because the Orioles, to me, don't need flash. They need reliable, dependable. And I just don't know where they stand with Framber, Brad. Like that, if that didn't happen, obvious number one choice.
Yeah.
And it would be hands down not a comparison. But if you want a guy that I don't have to question what he's going to do as a player, for me, it's going to be Ranger. All he does is know how to pitch around the zone. He's comfortable, and that's great. And you know what? Then go and trade for another upside arm, which the one that I still eye the most, and I doubt it happens, but I'll tell you what, Daniel Cabrera, as I faced that dude in AAA for the Marlins, that dude is starting to figure it out. And he throws hard, and he's good, and he has upside. I think if you have an upside move, the risk is low. You need to nail your offseason free agent move. And I just don't think you can go wrong getting Ranger. That's my opinion. I think that there is risk with Gallen. There's the only risk for Framber is, does he fit in? But I think the Orioles will go get one guy, because if they don't, Brad, it's incomplete.
Yep.
They have too many question marks still on who is going to be those depth pieces. You need to know your three. You want it to be Bradish, Rogers, and you need that other third, and have Dino slide in to be an upside 3, maybe 2 if he's on one of his benders, or be like, oh, sugar, Dino's having an April again, and you got to be able to live with that. So I think that that's important. We'll see what happens there. The bat is a really interesting part. I don't know what they're going to do with the bat, but there's rumors aflowing, bro.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if you've heard about this.
I have.
There are rumors everywhere. Where would a guy like, I don't know, Pete Alonso, Kyle Tucker, even Bo Bichette. So maybe we start with the two that have been talked about quite a bit, because it relates to the Toronto Blue Jays, and then we'll get into Mr. Alonso here. Zach, do we have that clip from John Morosi about Kyle Tucker and Bo Bichette?
We do.
So I want to start with this, because I just think it's an interesting conversation. Kyle Tucker, Bo Bichette, two extremely talented bats. Blue Jays are willing to spend. Are they picking one or the other? Well, John Morosi has some thoughts, so let's react to that, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
Kyle Tucker, Kyle Schwarber, who signs first? What do you think? Who's closer?
So here's my answer on that. Kyle Schwarber, I believe, will sign first. Neither one of them will sign this week. I think both of those signings, Schwarber and Tucker, feel like we're headed towards a winter meetings signing extravaganza, which, by the way, Lauren, we are there a week from today.
I can't wait.
The winter meetings will be underway in Orlando, Florida. So excited about this. I think with Schwarber being the older player and with his market being a little more set as the role that he has, I think Schwarber signs first, and then Tucker, Lauren, he is such an interesting case because the general industry thought is Tucker will likely not go back to the north side of Chicago, and so you wonder where might he go. The Dodgers with interest, the Giants with interest, and yes, the Blue Jays with interest. And Harold touched on this a little bit earlier on, too. I actually look at it as an either-or, Kyle Tucker or Bo Bichette. Here's why. If you sign Tucker, Tucker moves into right field, which certainly does complicate a little bit about Springer's role exactly, Santander's role, and more importantly, Addison Barger. He is an everyday player. So if you sign Tucker, Barger to third, Clement to second, Jimenez is your shortstop. And there's not really any room for Bo at that point. So I look at it as being an either-or situation. And we saw certainly the way that Jimenez played shortstop very well for the Jays in the postseason. But to me, the overriding question is, yeah, Tucker or Bichette help you if you're the Jays. But Addison Barger, Lauren, part of the future. I would not interrupt his number of at-bats too much because of how important Barger is.
All right,
So I agree with that last part. And also, if you are new to this channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Ryan Ripken Show. We're live at 5 here on YouTube, X, and Facebook.
Cannot wait to see John next week, by the way.
We will see John next week down at the winter meetings. We will be down there in Orlando. But let's dive into this conversation, because why I wanted to play the end of that clip is the dynamics of a roster. And with your young guys and players that you think can have this potential to take off, you want to make sure you give them the runway to take off. Barger proved last year that dude needs to play, and that dude needs to play often. And you could argue he would have been the World Series MVP had the Blue Jays pulled it off. He was that damn good. Kyle Tucker, Bo Bichette, the Blue Jays are going to be aggressive in the market for really, it seems like, any big-time player. I kind of agree with John's assessment there. You sign Tucker, it really changes the dynamic of your team, and you don't have room for both. But if you have Bo Bichette come back, well, Bo Bichette's going to play more likely second base at this point in time, and then that's how it goes. But what's fascinating to me is I do think the Blue Jays, I think it's theoretically possible that they land one of those guys. I think Toronto is in on landing those players. And I think personally, if you're Bo Bichette and you have a relationship with the team, you've come up with the team, you played with Vlad Guerrero Jr., you're loved there, I think that there's a legit chance he comes back. But what happens with Kyle Tucker? And I do believe Kyle Schwarber is going to be that first domino. And John mentioned that. Like last year it was Juan Soto, Brad.
Yeah.
When that happened, you're like, whoa, hey now, oh sugar. I think Kyle Schwarber is going to be the deal that gets figured out first, and then Kyle Tucker would be the next one off. And I think that it will be in that order. I don't think any team signs Kyle Tucker unless they are so out on Kyle Schwarber, which my guess is why would you be if you're in the market, especially for a big left-handed bat? Am I missing something with that, Zach? Or are you agreeing with me?
I agree. There's just it doesn't fit for the Blue Jays to go after both. Sign both. They're going after both. I'm in my head. I keep on going back and forth on which I think is better for the Blue Jays, and honestly, I'm not sure. Like it literally, it might come down to the fact of like, okay, hey, the familiarity of Bo Bichette in the locker room. He knows everyone. He fits well. All of that, because I mean, yes, he was injured in the playoffs. So this is a guy that he's got one of the best averages in the league over the past 3 years. I mean, this guy gets on base. He is a superstar. It would be really surprising if they both are like, hey, yeah, we're in. I would almost be surprised if they decided to go Tucker instead. I think both obviously slightly different skill sets, but I think for Toronto, it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like I feel like Bo Bichette is a catalyst for that offense. He's an RBI machine. He gets on base, does everything you want from him. Kyle Tucker's coming off kind of a disappointing year. So for me, I think there's more risk because Tucker's going to get more.
Yep.
You sign Tucker to a $400 million contract and suddenly he doesn't play well, or he is more the Kyle Tucker in the second half of last year. and you're sitting there going, oh, crap. And you see Bo Bichette, wherever he may end up, hitting 320, you're going to be like, crap, we might have messed this up. I just think safer route is for the Blue Jays. Just keep Bo.
Just keep him.
It comes between them.
Yeah. What are we doing? I mean, with the Blue Jays willing to basically talk to anyone and sign anyone that has any sort of talent, as we've seen over the years, why not just bring back your reliable guy who also has a great relationship with the rest of the ball club? And we talked about Guerrero Jr. and him came up together at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, keep that story rolling, man.
I mean, I think in this day and age, if you can become a legend with one team, and you have the opportunity and you love the place, and Bo Bichette, if you love Toronto, you go back to Toronto, unless you have aspirations to be elsewhere, because you've earned the right now to do that. But this is what fans love. If you're going to ask them right now, who would you rather have back from a fan's perspective? Some might say, give me the player Kyle Tucker. But my guess is most would say, man, give me Bo. We love Bo in Toronto. And I think that really matters to a fan base. And by the way, Bo would have also been the hero of Game 7, because him coming off being ready for the World Series, but not playing 100%, and to take Ohtani dead nuts right there, that felt like that was going to be the moment. He would have been beloved forever and ever there in Toronto. And I think maybe he thinks there's unfinished business. But the Blue Jays, you already have Dylan Cease on the books, right? So whoever you bring in, like just from a contract standpoint, it's a lot of money, but Bo Bichette would be the cheaper, it seems, of the two options, which then leads to the American League East in general. The American League, I think they're going to go after some bats, but it seems like the East really is eyeing in on these guys.
Yeah.
Kyle Tucker, I'm here in the National League out West. I'm still buying that the American League East is going to go and get some of these bats. I'm talking about the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Blue Jays. Maybe there's a sleeper team in there. Could be involved. And one name that we haven't talked about yet that could be in the mix for a bat, because I don't think this sleeper team is going to get Kyle Tucker. I don't think they're going to get Bo Bichette. But what about Pete Alonso? And we're starting to hear these rumors set in for Pete. Well, Pete makes a lot of sense in Boston. Green Monster, playing for the Red Sox. They got a lot of momentum. Well, what if you put him over there in New York, on the other side, playing with the Yankees?
Yeah, send him to the Bronx.
Big bat, helps out Judge. Makes sense. Now, Toronto doesn't fit for him with Vlad Guerrero Jr., but then you're sitting there going, well, could there be another option in the American League East? And that team that's kind of sleeping there, that's still being attached, the team right here in Baltimore. The Orioles apparently are still in on Pete Alonso. Yeah, and you know what? But it's making people laugh and smile and throw up the what could happen here. It makes you think, could this realistically happen?
I will say this, even if it doesn't realistically happen, if you have a big bat, you hit a lot of home runs, why wouldn't you want to come to Baltimore? Obviously, the money has to make sense, but if you're Kyle Schwarber or Pete Alonso, you could rake here at Camden Yards.
I'm just saying, Boston here in my mind, unless they go a little BANANAS, I don't think they're going to sign both Bregman and Alonso.
No.
That would be BANANAS. So one of them signs, say it's Bregman, because you had that commitment with Bregman before, and I think that was a good fit for Boston. And if I'm Alex Bregman, I think that makes a lot of sense to go back to Boston.
Yeah.
Because they valued him, and that was a really, really good, just overall seemed like a good experience for him. If they don't sign him, or sorry, they do sign Bregman, and you're the Orioles, Pete Alonso, you talk about you need a big bat. Pete's a big bat.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I know that batting average matters in the postseason. It does to me a lot. It really does. But you know what also matters to me is having a bona fide bopper. And I like Taylor Ward. I think he's going to play a good role here. for the Orioles. But you're telling me that there's a guy out there that 4 of the last 5 seasons has had 90 or more RBIs. In 3 of the last 4 seasons, he's had 118 or more RBIs. That don't grow on trees. That's almost doubling the Orioles' average leader this past year. I think, what was the number, Zach? Do you remember off the top of your head for the Orioles last year? I think it was like 60-some RBIs.
I believe Gunnar had 62.
That's not a lot.
That is, you know what? I'll pull it up right here. That quickly. When I move, you move. Well, at least I'll pull it up on my screen. 68. So if you double that, that's 136. And Pete Alonso had 126 by himself. Hit 272. If he hits that, I think you can make the case he's even more valuable than Schwarber from a bat perspective. I think Schwarber from the whole clubhouse persona of what he is, there's a value there that you can't quantify. But Pete Alonso, man, talk about a game changer for your team. That changes how people would view the Baltimore Orioles in 2026. I would 100%. Say that would put them in a position to really be a dominant offense. But what do you do with the other pieces? Like,
trade them.
But so
you trade them for pitching.
Well, and that could be the option, Zach. I mean, there's no way Kobe Mayo and Ryan Mountcastle, in my mind, and Sam Basayo, something's going to give here before
Ryan Mountcastle gets traded with like maybe a prospects that are attached to them, maybe a Heston Kjerstad. I don't know what's going on with Heston, but like somebody in the prospects field with Ryan Mountcastle for any starting pitching would make sense to me.
It's a fascinating conversation. And I want to reiterate this. Pete Alonso, I think, is undervalued as a bat.
Yes.
And that's crazy after what I said, but I still think people are looking at, he plays first, the defense is okay, or is he going to be a liability? How long is he going to hit? I am well aware of all of that, but what is his MO? He's going to bang.
Yeah.
He's a banger, Zach.
I mean, if you look at his percentiles from last year, he's actually had his best year for expecting on base average, expected batting average, expected slugging, expected on base percentage, hard hit percentage, bat speed. It just, everything was a career high. So it's not like he has regressed in the slightest. And then if you go to his expected home runs by park at Camden Yards, he was expected to have 45 last season. So a little blip up. Actually, I believe it's the 4th most that he would have been projected. Okay, I'm going to say 3rd most because I'm not counting the Athletics Little League ballpark where he would have had 56. That's kind of ridiculous. But Pete Alonso is a guy that you brought it up. Already there's a logjam at first base. If you get a guy like Pete, that means in my mind that you are not signing a frontline starter and that you are going to the trade market for a starter, because at that point, why wouldn't you? You have 3 first basemen, right-handed first basemen that are kind of all repetitive of each other. It's like the potential, the guy you thought could reach Pete Alonso's stats and Ryan Mountcastle, and then Pete Alonso. It's like 3 different evolutions of players. You would have to get rid of probably Mountcastle and Mayo, because my biggest fear is with Mayo that they use him as just like a backup, and that could kill his.
He's way too talented for that.
Yeah, just do not do the, Kobe can play every 4 or 5 days, and that's going to be good enough. You can't do that to the kid. Give him playing time or get value for him. So, I mean, it would be awesome. Do I expect the Orioles to? No. I'm an Orioles fan. I cannot, until the ink is dry on paper, I would not believe that Pete Alonso was signed here. But it's a fun thought. I think it's a fun thought. I think there's a much better.
That would be the biggest free agent signing in Orioles history,
without a doubt.
Well,
not even close.
Well, given the context of where they are currently, like as a team, of where they could go, because if we're going back, like Miguel Tejada was a big signing, but the Orioles.
I was talking like contract wise.
Yeah.
But what was Miguel Tejada's contract?
Well, it wasn't $140 million.
Chris Davis
will still be the largest. I don't think Alonso is going to eclipse the $160 million that Chris got.
170. I think
a 3 or 4 year deal, and Alonso gets $30 million a year. I think that's
like
realistic.
140. I think 5-year deal or 4-year deal for 140 with the 5th year option might make sense. Which I don't think sounds crazy, even if you're the Orioles. I mean, how much did they sign Captain General Soreness?
It's about 16, 17 mil a year.
Okay.
So, by the way, here, Miguel Tejada signed a 6-year, $72 million deal, and that was for a big name free agent. He played at an MVP caliber level.
Yeah.
Pete Alonso would definitely be the most bold that they have done.
Ever.
The boldest move that they have done in recent past, honestly, in the last decade plus, had been acquiring Corbin Burns. I think that's up there given where the team was, but they didn't re-sign him.
Nope.
So the only way Pete comes to Baltimore is if you have a plan for the other guys that are taking up his spot. And if we're going to prioritize, I still think getting the pitching is more important than the bat. Here's
my plan. You get Pete Alonso and you trade for Freddie Peralta. Brewer said that he's not available, but he's available.
That would be something, wouldn't it? I just have a hard time.
Would be the first pitcher they traded for the Brewers.
I know, but I really just want to see what they're going to do with Mountie and Mayo. Like, I can't fathom this situation. So adding Alonso into the conversation just confuses me.
Make him the DH. Just have a DH.
They've never done that as an organization.
I know, but they should.
I mean, that's a whole different conversation. If the Orioles change their philosophy, then bring them on in. But if you ain't going to change it, it ain't going to fit. But I'll say this. If Pete Alonso goes to an American League East team, that team to me will probably become the favorite in the AL East, and I would take them as the World Series favorite in the American League.
Yeah.
Because Pete Alonso, I think worst case scenario, goes to Boston or the Yankees, and guess what? Those teams are going to be lethal. If he goes to Boston, I would pick Boston to win that division.
Yeah, I mean, they were already a dangerous team last year, and then you had a big bat like that. I mean, good God.
Yep. So we'll see. Time will tell. But it's always an interesting conversation because this is what it's about. And we'll try to give you
time, baby.
We'll try to give you some more answers next week. We'll be down there at the winter meetings. It'll be a good time. We're not there for a long time, but we're there for a good time.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of the action is going to be on Monday and Tuesday. For sure, we'll be heading down on Sunday to get it all set up, and we will share more of the information when we get down there. And for our channel members, you'll get the behind the scenes, especially the Rips Better kids. We appreciate you guys. And we appreciate our good kids. You all are good kids, but the Ribs good kids and Ribs better kids, our channel members, you guys have made the process and helped us continue to grow. So if you want to help us on the journey or help out the channel, click that join button. It would mean a lot to us. Appreciate you guys as we continue on. And I can't believe it, guys. It's December 1st. Next month's 2026, and we are off and running.
It is crazy.
To a whole new year. A whole new year.
No, that wasn't good.
A whole new year. No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, at least I'm putting myself out there, you jacks. So,
no, you did great. You did great. There was an energy.
Shut up, you kiss ass.
Yeah, you know what? But both of you guys, I'm not answering your calls. Okay.
Don't answer them anyway at 1.
Yeah, at 1:30 in the morning.
I didn't call you at 1:30 in the morning. We're not gonna tell you who was just blowing up our lines at 1:30. We'll save it for Thursday because I think we'll have him on then.
Oh, good.
Yeah, let's save it for that.
Because out of curiosity for all you listening to this, and if you're on Spotify and Apple listening after, thank you, by the way. Hit that subscribe and follow button. Would you call someone at 1:30 if it wasn't an emergency? Just I'll let that sink in. Not an emergency. Would you call 1:30 p.m.?
Five people. Five.
Multiple times.
Multiple times, yes.
Let us know in the comment section live, or let us know next time we do this. And I appreciate that. I wholeheartedly would love to hear it, because Brad, you said to me, if I did that to you, you would just punch me right in the nuts. But I'd say, hey, buddy, I wouldn't do that to you. I wouldn't do that to you. Maybe.
I was so mad.
Yep.
I literally was like, bro, is everything okay? Oh, yeah. And then went into it. I seriously, as a good friend, genuinely was concerned for our friend who called me at 1:30 in the morning.
And I will say, I've had times where I will, be up and I'm feeling, maybe I send a, hey, you up text.
Yes.
But to my friends here, this isn't a booty call thing. It just, I think I've had it like with Mike or some of my friends on the West Coast. Be like, hey, you up? And they'll FaceTime me right then and there. But bold, out of the blue, multiple times, no messages left, and you're sitting there going, "That's the teller, right?"
That was the teller for me because I was up. My phone was charging. I was actually watching a movie, and all of a sudden, I go over and I see my phone. I'm like, 30 minutes ago, missed call, and I was like, "Okay, no follow-up call, no missed text of like, hey, this is absolutely needed right now." And I was like, and then I forgot about it the next day until Brad brought up. I was like, but yeah, that happened to me too.
Rocco brought it up.
Oh, it was Rocco.
Because Rocco got multiple FaceTime requests from said individual.
It's very interesting overall. But again, my thing is,
I'm just glad that we have Ravens players that feel comfortable enough to call his boys at 1:30 in the morning.
I mean, it's all good. For any of you guys, if you call me at 1:30, that's cool. If I'm dead asleep, I ain't answering. And if I'm awake and I see you calling, I still might not answer it because I'm like, I have a feeling this isn't good. However, what I would appreciate, I like to be there for the group. So if I feel it, I would pick up. But what would help me out is if I get a text message saying, hey, all good. I just have a question. Yeah. Something along the lines of that. Because you know what I'm thinking? It's like
the question also could have been a group text.
All of it, all the above.
Yeah.
It could have been a group text.
It could have been all of it. And then also what you can do is just, I don't have to think of, we get a call the next day from the police and, hey, have you heard from this person? Well, I actually I got a FaceTime call. Well, why did something go wrong? He didn't make it home last night.
Yeah.
And then I'm filled with guilt. And I'm sitting there going, could I have made the difference?
Which is why I was like, bro, are you good? Just making sure that you're not dead in the ditch. But then the truth came out and then I got pissed.
Yeah. You know what?
And was up for the next hour.
Yeah.
Could not go back to sleep.
Yeah. I was still up. Ollie and I were watching. What were we watching? Late night. Saturday. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I ended up watching this one show on. Jamie had been watching this historical fiction show, called Poldark, and I watched the ending of this, and I'm like, why the hell am I watching this? But then I'm going to watch the other next episode. It's like one of those where I'm not really invested, but now I'm kind of invested.
Yeah,
and it's not something I'd recommend for you to watch, but you might like it if you just like to have it on.
Yeah.
Okay.
I started Stranger Things over again because I want to watch the.
Ooh, that's right. It's out.
So
new season.
I started it last night.
From the beginning.
From the very beginning. I've seen it the first two seasons and then I kind of fell out of it. And then I saw that the latest season's out. And then I was like, oh man, I don't remember anything from watching it before. Might as well start over.
Yeah.
I was watching Knives Out.
Oh, that's a great show. Great movie.
Two great movies. Just one of those movies because the third one's coming out. So when I saw the first, I then immediately watched the second because I was like, these are fantastic. One of those movies where every scene that a new character walks in, you're like, they're in that movie. It's like a quick cameo, and you're like, that was probably so much money for them to appear in that 30-second cameo.
The sequel, was it the Purple Onion or Glass Onion or
Glass
whatever?
Onion.
That was also equally as good.
Yeah, that was actually funny enough. Glass Onion was the one I was watching when he called. That's what I thought was nowhere near.
He who must not be named. Actually, by the way, too, Harry Potter's on all the time. So saying he who must not be named, Voldemort.
Yeah.
That's on, I feel like, every single weekend.
Yeah.
So last night after the football game, I watched a little bit of the Deathly Hallows Part 2.
Okay.
But enough of our banter. That's a little bit of mixing it up. We appreciate you guys. What you got?
I was just going to remind everybody as we're talking about movies, we're going to talk about the movies or the movie club. We're moving it to Thursdays. We're going to talk about the movie club Thursdays.
Wanderlust is our movie book club.
Yes.
Movie club.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to partake in Wanderlust, get your glasses out. I need to get some good reading glasses, like act sophisticated. Well,
Oh,
there we are. Oh, hello. See, look how.
Yeah.
Look at this, Zach. Like we're like twins now. You know?
Yeah. It's the beard.
It's the beard.
it's the neck beard,
Yeah.
not just the beard, the neck beard.
I have a photo that's kind of similar to this that I will show you guys from when I played in Hagerstown.
Oh, okay.
And you would think I'm very swell.
Oh, Hub City.
Little H-Town, baby. The true H-Town. Well, guys, I did mention the football game. So before we, continue to move through the show, and I see the love on Facebook, by the way. We're streaming live on YouTube, X, and Facebook. Hey, how you doing? We appreciate all of you guys on X, YouTube, Facebook. Thank you. I saw one show, Rob Ripken show is the best. We appreciate that. We are far from perfect, especially our friend that he must not be named, but we appreciate it. We try to have fun here, try to give you guys some perspective, and we think we have some great guests, and we'll have some great guests next week down at the winter meetings. So why don't we then, it's a good thing I have these glasses too. Why don't we take our quick trip around Maryland, Zach, and always take the under, correct?
Yeah, take the under. We got to have a signal beforehand so I can get this thing ready.
Well, I want to see how quick you can pull it up. Boom. Look at that. And we're going around Maryland, brought to you by our friends over at Next Move Charm City and the Belanger team over at Lone Depot. Hey, how you doing? And if you are looking to make your next move, make the right move, whether it is city, suburbs, or shore. Shannon, Brett, and Rich, the Belanger team at Lone Depot, they're looking to make the best experience for you. So make the right move with Next Move Charm City. And I was going to throw the glasses, but these seem too nice.
They're just cheap Amazon glasses.
Oh,
Christian bought them for whatever reason.
You know what? I'll keep them because they are my sophisticated glasses.
There you go.
Well, around Maryland, we did just talk a little bit of baseball here. We will get into foosball in Baltimore here. The game last night, Commanders and Broncos. Terrible game. What are you talking about?
It was terrible until it got to overtime.
I was entertained throughout it. I got entertained
with Mariota. So that first half of the game, you were entertained.
I was when Mariota did a jump throw right to the linebacker. I thought, wow, that was a bad throw. Is that how
they pronounce it now?
What?
Mariota?
I don't know. Chris Collinsworth is going through that one.
He was having a hard time.
Is it Mariota or Mariota?
So I have seen things where I need to go back and watch. I thought someone on Twitter said that that's how Mariota pronounced it in his player intro.
Oh,
and so
probably to with people.
Well, I don't know. But also, it does make me think of Mariota. And since I mentioned Harry Potter, like Leviosa. You guys remember that? No?
Nope. No, I know what you're
talking
about. It's
Leviosa, not Leviosa. It's not Mariota. It's Mariota. Get it? No? Anyway, I was entertained. I thought that the game, even though it was slow and sluggish early, I still thought it wasn't going to be as competitive. But maybe it's because the Broncos just playing close games then, so I should have thought differently. They talk about teams that don't blow out other teams.
Yeah.
That's Denver by far. And Marcus and the Commanders, they came down the stretch, and I thought they were lighting up that secondary, and they couldn't get home for pressure for the majority of time. And Scary Terry looked like he was going to be the hero. And then they had a great play, the 2-point play designed up, and Bonito makes a hell of a swat, and the Broncos still win. They're at the top of the AFC right now with the Pats. Do you have a different thought on this, Zach?
Well, no, I just figure out that is how Marcus pronounces it.
Mariota.
Mariota.
Mariota. So Chris Collinsworth was just enunciating that a little bit more.
I think they panicked because that's how he introduced himself. I guess he has made clear. This says he indicated during his Sunday Night Football player intro. So I guess that is the correct way. He might have just been messing with people.
That's what I'm thinking. It's been Mariota ever since he's been in the league. Like, what do we do?
Yeah.
Well, it's also like Bijan was supposed
Bijan.
to be Bijan, but then he's like, I like when people call me Bijan.
Achan.
Also, Travis and Jason Kelce, their name's actually Kels. Their dad apparently.
Yeah.
It's like his all of his family goes by Kels, but he didn't care, and everyone kept calling him Kelsey, and it just stuck. So his part of the family is like now Kelsey, but the rest is Kels.
Well, the more we know, right? The more that we know. I will say, and I see it, Rick, the incredible catches. I missed Puka's, but I did not miss Traylon Burks or Brock Bowers' catch.
Yeah. Puka Nakua's was bananas.
I mean, there were the Bowers catch. It looked like Geno was just trying to throw it in the ground, and Bowers went down with a man on him, made a great catch. Burks, that's his second career touchdown catch. And for those that didn't know, Burks was drafted to replace A.J. Brown. It's a tough role to fill there.
Yeah.
With a pissed off Mike Vrabel because he didn't want A.J. Brown to get traded. Like that was a great moment. That was unbelievable. So there was some good moments, but Brad, I get it. First half could have been a little bit of a snoozer, but it was a thriller down the stretch.
The 1:00 games again that yesterday were amazing. Came down I think all but one came down to the last couple seconds of the game.
You mean the Titans and the Jags?
Oh, the Browns game also.
Browns
that was full.
Browns game got blown out.
That was a 1:00 game, I think.
Yeah.
There was the Texans Colts game was good. The
Texans Colts, the Jets walked it off.
The Bucks Cardinals game was good.
Bucks Cardinals, the Jets walk off was crazy.
Yeah. Talk about teams that don't like to win. The Falcons are my favorite team to watch that have this offensive talent when London plays, and you're like, man, this team can be really good, and they continue to lose every week.
Yep.
Like every week. They were winning again.
This is once again what's wrong with the Jets. The Jets, it's the same crap with the Jets. It's the same crap with the Dolphins. They refuse every single year. They set themselves up, go down, like halfway, 3/4 of the way through the year where you're like, wow, they are a shoo-in for the first overall pick. And then they win the most useless games of all time and end up with pick 9, and every talent that could help propel them is gone. It was, okay, who are the Jets taking with the first pick? Well, now we're not going to know. It's who are they going to take with the 8th now? Mm-hmm. Do they even yeah, they have theirs this year. I was thinking about the Dallas trade, but they got up first and not gave it away. It just, some teams just don't understand a tank. The Titans, they get it.
Yes.
They're like, hey, we'll go 1-16 and have no issue with it.
And they're right on their way. They are. Hey, we want to have the number 1 overall pick again. Well, has that happened 2 straight years?
They will figure out a way to screw it up, I'm sure.
They got trade out of it. The best case for the Titans is one of these quarterbacks, Mendoza, most likely, just
elevates himself.
Just goes on an insane run in the college football playoff, and it's like becomes that is the bona fide, can't miss prospect at quarterback. They get the first pick and they can trade out for a haul. That's just what they have to assume. Hope for.
Well, you know what? We'll see how that goes down the stretch here, but you can't assume anything in the NFL. Now in college football, you can't assume anything anymore. Also, you can assume that the Maryland football season is over with now.
Yes.
It had been, but it's officially over.
Yeah.
They lost to the Michigan State Sparties 38-28 to finish 4-8. So after starting 4-0, the Terps lost 8 consecutive games.
I just feel so bad, mostly for anyone who had Maryland's over win total this year because it was 4.5.
No way.
Their win total before the season was 4.5 on betting sites. Started 4-0.
Damn.
And then lost 8 straight.
Wow.
Well, that stings the nostrils. But there's no coaching changes going on there, by the way. Nothing happening. Loxley's coming back. Can't be said around the rest of the NFL or the college landscape. And we had some what the hell moments, or like, wow, that escalated quickly depending on how you look at it.
Yeah.
We'll do one now. We'll save the other one when we talk about the Ravens, because it does involve a team in the division. But this one, guys, the Lane Kiffin situation with Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you lived under a rock of the sports world, Lane Kiffin made the choice to leave Ole Miss to take the job at LSU. And man, do I feel for Marty Smith, the reporter for ESPN that was waiting, because it felt like it was prolonged. And they had Marty Smith come on ESPN like, we're waiting for Lane's decision tonight. And then Marty goes on and tweets, actually, tomorrow Lane Kiffin is going to make his decision. But Marty's just sitting there waiting, just like the rest of the world.
48 hours. Marty said. Then did you see how he got
the interview?
The interview?
Yeah.
He drove through the woods because Lane texted him, I guess, and was like, I can do your interview now. So Marty got in the car, drove to the airport, was like, I got to be there. It was all fenced off, like police cars, fire trucks, everything. Marty's like, absolutely not. Goes off-road into the woods and comes all the way around to Lane Kiffin. That was the first thing he said. He was like, asked him about it, and he was like, well, first off, the most impressive thing I saw was you doing that little maneuver around everyone to come do this interview. So, yeah, shout out Marty Smith. This is everything. This is all NCAA's fault, just straight up, because they just don't know how to run anything properly. This is all the transfer portal's fault. This is all National Signing Day's fault. Everything that the NCAA could do to make this possible, it's because of them. It's because the calendar, literally, I think the first National Signing Day is this week. Okay, so you need a coach in to have his recruits come. You then need the transfer portal, starts in like 3 weeks and is over before the college football playoff is over. Okay, so now if you get a new coach, he needs to be in before that so he can get these. Put the transfer portal after the season.
Yep.
Make all these recruits sign after the season, and then you won't have to have every team. I mean, yes, the biggest story right now is, Ole Miss and LSU with Lane Kiffin. But Tulane's coach is going to Florida. Tulane's coach has already agreed. He's coaching Tulane for their conference championship and in the playoffs. But that's the uncomfortable thing that has to now happen, where these guys are coaching through these, or in Lane Kiffin's side, he's not getting the opportunity to coach in Ole Miss. Also, my favorite subplot of all of this is Juice Kiffin, the dog, isn't Lane Kiffin's dog. He was left in Ole Miss. He was left in
Holy
Mississippi.
Shit.
Lane Kiffin, apparently it's the worst kept secret in Oxford, is the dog is actually owned by a handler and lives with a handler.
Oh, no.
But gets posted with Lane Kiffin every Saturday as they walk in. And LSU fans were like, dope. Juice is coming to Baton Rouge. And all these people were like, oh, yeah, no, that's not actually his dog. Yeah.
Well, I will say there's a bad
college football rocks.
I was gonna say Bill Cowher absolutely ripped Lane Kiffin. I don't know if you guys saw that.
I saw that.
But I don't think Bill actually fully understood what you're saying, Zach. And that the conundrum. It's I'm sure Lane Kiffin would have loved to finish out the season. I'm sure he would have loved to get into the playoffs and figure out where he goes
He's
from
never
there.
been to the playoffs.
Exactly. But at the same time, if you have an opportunity with LSU to further advance your career and do what's best for you and your family, you're going to do that 10 times out of 10, I would imagine. But you're stuck into this rut with the timing of it all. I agree with you. The NCAA has completely this up.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't understand it at all.
So NIL we knew was coming to the landscape, and it should. But the problem that happened is you created an opportunity for athletes, but not create an infrastructure for how your sports need to be run. And specifically, let's make no mistake here, it is in the college football and college basketball position, because I see the Kevin Willard comment about the Terps.
Yeah, it was the same thing.
It's the coaches and the players are being put in positions where they need to make a decision.
Yep.
And they make the decisions at inopportune moments for the programs that are chasing greatness. And that's how I look at it. The situations that we've watched, I am all for people being paid what they think they should be worth. But this is also what's starting to ruin the sport, is that loyalty doesn't matter as much. The best opportunity does. And look, Lane Kiffin, the reputation now that it's been given out to him is he goes someplace and he gets chased out of town or he leaves. And you know what? The boos are raining out there. And also for the Ole Miss AD, I think it was Keith Carter, is it upsetting that Ole Miss just had the best year and you have a chance to win and you're going to take not only yourself, but take some of the coaches, right, Zach? Some of the coaches went with him.
Yes.
Actually, I believe it was. And that's
The
where
offensive
people
coaches.
really got upset is Lane Kiffin told his coaching staff, there were 2 planes sent by LSU to Oxford. And he said, if you are not on the planes to Baton Rouge, you will not be coming with me. You just flat out. So I believe the offensive coordinator got on the plane and not a single defensive coach, because apparently Lane Kiffin took a vote with his staff of pretty much in front of everyone, raise your hand if you would stay, raise your hand if you would go. And every defensive coach said that they would stay, and all but one offensive coach, actually, which ended up being Joe Brady, I believe, or said that they would go, but only the offensive coordinator got on the plane.
So here's the issue here. And by no mean what Lane's doing is saying, oh, well, it's just all the NCAA's fault. He made a choice.
Right.
And again, you can look at the rest of the landscape. Indiana and Kurt Signetti had a choice. He would have probably been Penn State's top choice if he didn't sign. But you know what? He said, I built something here. Indiana committed to him, and he made a choice. They took a chance on me. We're building something here. I'm going to stay here. Now, however long he stays, time will tell, way down the road. Maybe in 5 years he changes his mind. But he said, I want to be here. Lane Kiffin, if he wanted to be there, and I'm sure they could have paid him more, he could have stayed there. You could have built a legacy with Ole Miss. You know, it's almost like when you look at Nick Saban coming back from the NFL to college and he went to Alabama. He was at LSU. Alabama has a history of football, but Nick Saban, I'm going to come to Alabama and I'm going to win. And he created the legacy at Alabama. Again, storied, but it'd been a while since Alabama, was considered this great football team. They are now, but that's because of Nick Saban. I sit here and I feel bad for the kids that are actually committed to the programs, because this is the part that I hate the most, is that the product on the field for Ole Miss, the story tale of what it is, if they don't go and win or they get knocked out, is going to be what could have been. And I hate that. I hate it for all the reasons. And the NCAA, you really need to figure your shit out, because it's a disservice to not only the players and the coaches in the locker rooms to be put in tough situations, because no one's going to, in my mind, if you have a great opportunity, Brad, you mentioned it about Lane, truly, if this was the best opportunity, take along that it's a rival in your conference, which stings. People can look at it as a divorce and it ended ugly, which it did here. You're still looking at, okay, this is something, and LSU's throwing everything at them. I still get that part. Not that I agree with everything. I get it. But what you're doing is you're putting players and coaches in an awful position. What's the goal? Have them go to college. Let these fan bases, universities celebrate what could be great, and now you're robbing everyone of this moment.
Yeah.
If Ole Miss flops, they're not my pick to win this thing, but damn, man, it would have been so cool. And now we're going to sit here and everyone's going to blame that move instead of talking about how great of a year Ole Miss had. And that's the part that bothers the hell out of me. So
they need to regulate this thing. They need to regulate it the same way the NFL is regulated. You can't talk to certain people at certain times. You got to wait till, the season's over to talk to anybody. That's how it should be. And as far as transfer portal shit goes, I think it needs to be the same thing. You need to sign these players to certain term lengths, whether it's 2 years, 3 years, whatever you wanted to do. and throw over what money you want at them, but they shouldn't just be able to transfer to whatever college they want to every year. It's insane.
Well, it puts the kids in a horrendous situation, because the one thing that I think back to is last season, middle of December, Drew Aller, the quarterback for Penn State, announces, hey, I'm returning next year. And the backup, in the middle of, hey, they're about to go to the college football semifinals, has to announce, hey, I have to leave this team that I've put my blood, sweat, and tears in, and I'm not allowed to finish out the college football playoff on this roster, because if I do, I am not allowed to transfer. And I only have, I think it was 2 years or something of eligibility left. I need to go somewhere where I can play. And I remember Kenny Dillingham, Arizona State. I gained so much respect for him last year. He came out and said that he told every single one of his players during their run to the, when they were in the college football playoff, he said, if you need to transfer or you need to go out there and see what's out there to do what's best for you, you will have a spot on this roster if things do not work out. You can come back here after everything, because he understands how unfair it is. That, okay, so now these kids have to decide, I'm on this magic carpet ride season for Arizona State where you're just watching Cam Scatterbo get CTE for 15 yards every play, but it's electric. And you're on this, magic carpet ride. And now all of a sudden, it's like, okay, do I want to do what's best for me and leave this in the middle of it all just for the chance that it works out somewhere else? It's just a horrible, horrible, horrible system that they have. I think it was actually Paul Feinbaum a few weeks ago was like, this would be like if the NFL free agency started 2 weeks before the Super Bowl, and they were like, yeah, but if you're a free agent, you can't play in the playoffs, or hey, coaches can leave during this, and it just
even the coaches, the coaching circle for the playoffs. Some teams, depending on what it is, they'll say, hey, we need you to wait. If you really want our guy, you got to wait. And then maybe if you go to the Super Bowl, they'll do that interview between the weeks. But some coaches will be, you know what, I'm going to wait. Or when we're eliminated, we're going to have the interview. If you're really that interested in me, then you'll wait for me. But in college, it's not like that, because the recruiting is year-round. The transfer portal is at inopportune times. And actually, while the teams that have all this money, like LSU, the pro for them is they have all the resources and assets. But the con is, if you are a good team in college football, the other teams without those, you are going to then be plagued. It's a blessing that you have a great program, but if you go far into the postseason, you could end up losing out because of how the structure is. And that's the part that I hate. And I will say this to end it. I guarantee you, or I shouldn't say guarantee is the strong word for this, but I have a strong feeling if Lane Kiffin wasn't going to LSU and it was Penn State and he asked, I bet he would still be coaching Ole Miss down the stretch. I think because it's LSU and because it's in your conference and because of how it went down, he said, screw that. You don't get to come in here where Ole Miss, give credit to Lane Kiffin. He's the one that rose this program up, but also give credit to Ole Miss. They hired him and gave him that jump from FAU to Ole Miss. Is that right, Zach?
Yeah.
So they gave him the jump. They took the chance on you again where you had been run out of town from each place. They helped you get back. And I think that's what hurts the most with it, but it's over. It's done with.
I witness FAU Lane Kiffin at Marshall my freshman year. That was his year. He came to.
How'd it go?
I actually think we won.
No way.
The FAU team wasn't great. I mean, it was a stepping stone. It wasn't like it was anything special. I gotta look that up now.
Yeah, but you know what, Lane? It's going to feel good when you have the millions and millions.
31-7. Thanks for coming out, Lane. Have fun. Have fun in Baton Rouge.
We are
running from the Sun Belt. I get it.
We are
kicking ass, Marshall, baby.
Okay, there we go. That's what I was looking for.
And taking reps away from Derrick Henry, but that's a whole nother.
Oh, taking reps away from Derrick Henry. Wow, did you just segue into the next topic? Look at this kid over here.
He just gets better every show.
Little snaps for you right there. Give him some snaps. There it is. Let me put the glasses on right there. snaps for Zach. Well, you know what? Now we are going to continue on. And, yeah, we got to talk about a little football in Baltimore. And the Ravens, I talked about Thanksgiving was great until 8:20 p.m. if you were a Ravens fan, because from 8:20 until about 11:30, that was a experience. And not only did the Ravens lose to the Bengals, how they lost was infuriating. It was the turnovers. It was the kind of felt like the mental mistakes. And then it was, I don't know, that the Bengals, who were on life support and had historically one of the worst defenses in football, ended up forcing then the 5 turnovers, and forcing can be a stretch on a couple of them. But they had the 5 turnovers, and they had 6 all year going into this, and now the Bengals have life back in the division.
Yep.
Now, fortunately for Ravens fans, guess who also imploded this Thanksgiving weekend? Well, that's the team up there in Pittsburgh, as the Buffalo Bills, who were really struggling in the first half, then the second half turned on, and the Steelers had zero chance. They forced a fumble on Aaron Rodgers. The Bills just decided to run the ball down the Steelers' throats, and that's not an understatement. They set the record for most rushing yards by an opponent at Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
And I think TJ Watt, after, even said, I've never seen a team run the same play over and over again and it continue to work. So we're going to get into the Pittsburgh side, but we got to talk about the Baltimore side here, because I want to emphasize running. You mentioned Derick Henry. The Ravens on that first touchdown drive of the game, that was nice.
Yep. You kind of felt like, okay, this is how the night's going to go.
Yeah.
And then it did not go that way.
Yeah. And Derick Henry, he was eating
early
on. But then if you watch the game, you're like, we should get back to the run game. And you looked out there and like, giving Derrick some rest. It's a long game. You're going to need him.
Yeah.
And you didn't see him much in the second or third quarters at all. And the reality was, when you looked up at the end of the day, Derick Henry didn't have a lot of carries. In a game that was close, and it was close at halftime, Derick Henry had finished with 10 carries on that game? 10 carries for 60 yards.
Terrible.
And he also had 1 catch for about 45 yards. So when he touched the football, he had 11 touches and 104 yards on those 11 touches. And that was it. And you know what? That grinded my gears. I know that grinded your gears, but apparently it also grinded John Harbaugh's gears. He was asked about it today on the running game. So why don't we listen to John Harbaugh's comments, and we'll talk about it on the other side.
No doubt. No, of course not. I mean, that's not the numbers that we want at all, and we want to run the ball. We're a running team, that's the fact. And we're a throwing team too. We got Lamar Jackson, we got receivers, we got tight ends, we got all that. But we want to always be a team that runs the ball and stops the run. That's been since 2008. It's not going to really probably ever change, and that's really what football is. So, for sure. And when you look at the game, I mean, we went 7 plays down the field and scored. Then we went 3 and out, then we were in 2 minutes. So that explains the lack of carries in the second quarter. We didn't have any plays in the second quarter to have a chance to even run the ball. So then the other part of that is just the number of 2-minute plays in the game was staggering. I mean, we had 21 2-minute plays. That's way too high. And when you have that many I don't mind 2-minute plays at the end of the half. I'm not real fired up about 2-minute plays at the end of the game. That means you're trying to, come back. And so we had 7 or 8 2-minute plays at the end of the half, and we had, 15 or so at the end of the game, because we started 2-minute at the 9:38 mark of the fourth quarter. And that explains the play distribution as much as anything. It explains the carries as much as anything. So the circumstance of the game took us in that direction.
So in the first half, and if you watch the game, the Bengals did have long drives.
Yep, they chewed up.
Chewed up clock. So to that point, that is a fair thing of long drives. The Ravens didn't sustain drives. But I think the bigger part here is just the usage of Derrick. And I think we're realizing that Derrick's impact is not just that, yes, he's a force when you hand him the football. His one catch on a screen or a check down proved when he gets in space. And actually, Jason Garrett was on the call for NBC, and he talked about saying, actually, Derrick Henry, not a in between the tackles guy, which he's great at, but when you get Derrick in space, that's when it's terrifying. And for whatever the reasons were, he only got 11 touches. He was on the field for 40% of the snaps. That's the lowest of the year.
Yeah.
But since Kansas City, where he had 8 carries and was on the field for 39% of the snaps.
To me, that doesn't answer the question. John Harbaugh didn't really answer the question because of just from the simple fact of Derrick Henry wasn't the primary ball carrier in that game. I understand. Look, hey, we don't have all the time. We got to throw the ball as much as we can. Okay, fine. But then how come Derrick Henry didn't run the ball the most times out of all the running backs on the depth chart?
And
why?
Right, and on that game too, and just to give you more context, which is just a very strange situation. Keaton Mitchell had 2 carries for 19 yards and a touchdown, which that felt like the team was getting back into it.
Yeah.
Ali was getting a lot more run as kind of the Justice Hill type of role. I think the bigger part for me is, this is crazy philosophy here, and see if you can follow me, Zach. I like when your best players get involved.
Yeah.
And find a way to get them the ball.
They make plays.
Regardless of the circumstance. And I know Derrick Henry isn't a third down back, but I wouldn't mind Derrick Henry being in on more third downs. I think the element of surprise when Derrick's in the game makes your team less predictable. And you can tell there's a frustration. And also, by the way, Harbs is a guy that I know he made the comments about Monken that one day. More times than not, he doesn't really throw people under the bus. I mean, for Lamar's turnovers in the team, he just said, "Hey, that was on me. That was on me."
Which was crazy.
John, it wasn't on you on that. But, appreciate, you saying that.
It takes accountability on the one thing that's like, no, that wasn't on you.
Yeah, actually, that was not.
And that's the thing. Here's where this comment just kind of makes me frustrated because it's the same thing that we've heard multiple times this year. Every time Derrick Henry doesn't get involved and just to a criminal amount, didn't get a single. I don't even know if he was in the game in the second quarter. I think Ali and Mitchell got almost every single snap because of it. Is when you ask John Harbaugh about Derrick Henry's usage and he acts like, one, he's not the head coach who in the game can be like, hey, let's get Derrick the ball more. Or that he's just hearing it for the first. He's like, wow, 10 carries. Yeah, we should not be doing that. We're going to have to get, it's like was your headset broken when was Derrick? I know you got some big guys in the linemen out there, but like Derrick's a big dude. You should be able to miss him on the sideline. You should be like, hey, Derrick, let's get Derrick in more. Let's hand the ball to him more. Just feels like I'm so tired of this. Like, oh, well, it's 3 and out. It was, 3 and out the next 2 drives. They were 3 and out because it was horrendous play calling where you didn't give your best player, Derrick Henry, the ball.
And you have Pat Ricard back there too. I mean, you got 600 pounds of beef and you can't push him through. Like, what's going on?
So the other snap count here, Ali had 48% of the snap count or snap percentage in this game.
Yeah.
And again,
makes no sense.
And the part is, were the Ravens trailing? Yes. But honestly, you take away how that first half ended. If you guys remember, it was the Tuck rule doesn't exist anymore. Lamar, the ball slips out. It's going downward. They call it a fumble. The Bengals get a few more points. Yep. Overall, guys.
Zay Flowers got a bullshit offensive pass interference call. And
so two touchdowns taken off the board for this team. One likely at the goal line. Heck of a play by Battle, but also those are mistakes.
Got to make that play.
It can't happen. It can't happen in those situations. Even if you're tackled at the 1, we know the struggles at the 1 yard line, but you like those chances instead of giving the ball up. But in that case for the Ravens, when that play happened at the end of the half, right? It was 9-7 Ravens losing to Cincy. And then it's the fumble, and Cincy gets 3 more points. It's still a 12-7 game. And then the Ravens, after Cincy scores, they come right back and score very quickly. And then, the Bengals put another score up there. And that was finally when the defense kind of caved in a little bit. I thought the defense played well in the first half, especially after the turnover, and they stopped them at the goal line. You're like, this is it. They're going to turn it around. Too many turnovers, though. Too many opportunities. They wore down. And when Hudson made that catch on Kyle Hamilton, you went, oh, sugar. Hell of a play. You ain't feeling good about what could happen. And then the deflections, they fumbled late in the game. But watching the Bills game, Josh Allen, if you watched it, he didn't play a fantastic game at all. But you know what their offensive coordinator said? We're better when James Cook gets the ball. We have to run the football. Let's try to make less mistakes than the other team, and I think we're going to win this game. And Josh, we know what type of player Josh is. I think the Ravens know what type of player Lamar Jackson is.
Yeah.
But your identity, and I hear what John's saying, your identity needs to be to run the football. I think the silver lining here with the Ravens, the Steelers did lose. If you can establish the run and commit to the run, especially, one thing that kind of is puzzling me, I know Lamar says he's 100% healthy and he scrambled more. I still don't think he's 100% healthy.
No.
And he's not going, they're not going to say it. They're not
Not
going to
playing
admit
like it.
But you know how you help your quarterback if he's not healthy? You run it. I think I texted you this on the first play of the game for the Ravens. I thought that was brilliant. Under center, heavy package, play action, and Kohler runs down the seam because everyone's like, we got to stop Derick Henry.
Yeah.
And that's where the Ravens can be explosive, playing off of the run, but not the other way around. So I'll be curious how they handle this because Pittsburgh now is coming to town. They're not feeling too good about themselves, well, at least the fans. If we thought people in Baltimore were pissed off, I haven't heard Pittsburgh Steelers fans that mad. I think since I've been alive,
they were chanting "Fire Tomlin,"
and they were booing during Renegade.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the oldest gimmick ever. They need to move on from that.
Yeah, Renegade sucks.
But the Steelers.
It's not even a good hype song.
I you know what? I like the song. I do. But for the context of it there,
it was really cool when their defense got stops after it.
Yeah, the song's fine by itself. As a hype song, there's so many better songs than that song. It's not a good hype song.
Well, the Ravens used to have their Rolodex, and they've kind of gotten away from that. That can be for a different
Enter Sandman in the fourth quarter still.
Enter Sandman. Enter Sandman's electric. Actually, cannot wait to hear Enter Sandman when James Franklin's coaching Vautech because that's where it is going to be bopping.
One Nation Army is also a good one.
Oh yeah, but and unfortunately though, that was during the Super Bowl year for the Ravens, and it kind of just you know what? But the oldies.
No, I just mean as a hype song.
Oh, you know what really was good? Like Kerncraft 400, like the stadium. Yeah. The old ones. Yeah, bring that puppy back.
Yeah.
Where's that been? And the buildup.
And that's still younger than Renegade is.
And we need to bring that back in here.
Yeah.
But for the Steelers, though, let me reel it back in. The Steelers, they felt, the Ravens lost the Bengals. Oh, we're going to take it back over. Then they get punked at home, and they got punked.
Oh,
and it was an ugly game.
Embarrassed.
It was that was the part. You lost by 19, and it wasn't that the Bills' offense did anything magical. They just ran the ball and kept running the ball, and they just willed their way.
This is why it's so important that the Ravens just do the exact same thing this week. If they don't run the ball like the Bills run the ball, this season's over. It's over.
And here's the reality: the Ravens, they have a great opportunity. The next two games, they got the Steelers and the Bengals. You win both those games, you feel very good about where you are. And the Steelers, there's so much tension. You mentioned the Fire Tomlin, where people are so pissed off about this and so pissed off with him.
Yeah.
But then also just the tension after the game. This is the most frustration I had seen from Pittsburgh players in a while.
I was going to say, they're all talking shit on each other.
Aaron Rodgers was at the podium, and we'll give the context more of it after, but Aaron was talking about that the players need to be watching a little bit more film, and they were off on the in-game audibles, in-play audibles. So let's listen to Aaron Rodgers' presser about that real quickly.
When there's film sessions, everybody shows up. And when I check through a route, you do the right route, John and I just weren't on the same page. I checked to his in breaker and he ran out breaker. John is a true professional, so I'm sure he's sick about that.
So if you couldn't hear that, he was just talking about in the game there was missed opportunities. One, I want to say Aaron did say he himself made some bad throws. He also talked about Jonnu Smith where he audibled to a post route in and Jonnu ran away. And actually, if Jonnu was on the same page, it was a touchdown. It was Aaron had the right call. But Aaron said that we're going to have meetings and we're all going to be there to, watch the film. And it just kind of felt like, man, Pittsburgh, their passing offense can't get going. Aaron Rodgers is banged up. And I mean, he's severely banged up. Like he can't be under center banged up.
Yeah.
So there's so much going wrong. And then now people who look at Mike Tomlin, did you hear the James Harrison comments about Mike Tomlin?
Yeah.
Oh my God. James Harrison, stud outside linebacker, gave the Ravens headaches all those years. He just blatantly said, I thought Mike was a good coach, not a great coach. He didn't really believe in all of that. And he thinks that, without saying it, but that Mike's more overrated. And then you have the other people like Rex Ryan that are going on and saying, oh, yeah, you get rid of him, Tomlin will have a job in 5 seconds.
He will.
I agree with that.
Both are true, though.
Yeah.
I think Tomlin has this is a, and maybe this is a little too complimentary of Tomlin, but this is a Andy Reid Philadelphia situation. Good coach, good organization. It was time to move on probably in 2020.
I disagree. And the only reason that I disagree, and I would love to see Tomlin as a Raven fan out of Pittsburgh, but the talent that he's had to work with since Ben Roethlisberger left Pittsburgh has been absolutely atrocious. And the fact that he even got this team to 500 since he won his last playoff game is a goddamn miracle. And it's a testament to his coaching because he hasn't had any talent on the offensive side of that ball since Roethlisberger left. Period.
The one thing that's crazy now for them, and this is the thing.
You're going to fire anybody, fire the general manager.
I would just say this as well. What?
Well, they did 2 years ago? Fired their GM 3 years
ago? They've changed some things up, but one thing is when you're looking at your coaching staff, is that your general manager? Is that going to be your is that the head coach hiring the player, right? So or the coach, sorry. So Arthur Smith has been the offensive coordinator, and we're going to run the football because that fits the MO. Who doesn't fit our MO because he's had problems in our locker room? We're going to trade George Pickens away because it's not worth the headache. He goes to a system that fits George Pickens more.
Yeah.
And there's an argument that George Pickens now is a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL.
Yep.
Like it's CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens are both top 5.
But he's got Dak Prescott throwing to him.
Oh, no, I agree with it. The one thing, the common denominator is that the Steelers don't have a franchise quarterback. And they haven't had one since Big Ben.
And they haven't had a good running back either.
Najee, I think Najee and Jaylen Warren have been fine. I think their philosophy hasn't been good. Like you just got DK Metcalf, and they don't use DK Metcalf.
But so that's what I'm saying. It's very much a personnel thing. Their running backs have been mid at best. Najee was not a top 5 running back for an extended period of time. That's why he's not with the Steelers anymore. And he hasn't done anything with the Chargers. Obviously, he got hurt and everything else. But that's my point. There hasn't been the Jerome Bettis, Le'Veon Bell running back that they can just give that ball to and run it down whoever's throats whenever they want to. And then, oh, yeah, by the way, we can just run a play action and chuck it down the field because they got Ben Roethlisberger back there too. There just hasn't been a good, solid personnel. And like I said, for the fact that Mike Tomlin has actually gotten this team to the playoffs, they haven't won, but he's gotten them there. And they've had winning seasons. I think that's still a testament to the coaching. They got to figure out personnel issues. Quarterback being one of them, they got to get better running backs.
Well, and that kind of goes to the point of Zach, you saying the fresh start could be coming to the crossroad here because let's play this out. Pittsburgh, they need to come to Baltimore to win this game. If they win that game and beat Baltimore, then the Ravens fans, you're going, oh, sugar, this year is done. That's where it goes to.
Yep.
So Pittsburgh still, while we say the Ravens, it's all in front of them. Pittsburgh has the same concept. But if Pittsburgh loses to Baltimore. And the Ravens should win. They need to win in Baltimore.
It's a must win.
If they cannot win in Baltimore, woof.
Season's over.
It's curtains.
And neither team is going to get the division or the wild card.
No.
And right now the Chiefs are facing that uphill battle. The Chiefs have to run the table themselves to get in because they lost to the Jags and they lost to the Bills, who are both wild card teams. So when you're looking at this game on Sunday is an elimination game in some sorts. So Mike Tomlin, I think, is a good coach. I think whatever's happened in Pittsburgh, it hasn't gotten better. And I think when whoever comes, if they do get to that point, you're right with the personnel decision. For whatever reason, they either haven't committed to or they haven't prioritized getting a guy to transform their team because they've been in the hunt, but they haven't been a contender in the last X amount of years. Even the year they went 9-0 to start, no one bought them as being the team to beat.
Nope.
And that still rings true today. Even if Pittsburgh wins the division, no one's expecting Pittsburgh to be one of those dangerous teams come the postseason. So it kind of then like leads in this open conversation. I know we wanted to talk about it. Unlike any other year, I don't see one dominant team. I don't think there's one team that you sit there and go, man, this team is head and shoulders going to win this thing. And a week ago, you would have said the Rams because we talked about that.
I did say the Rams.
And then what happened down in Carolina? Bryce Young, which I can't understand the Panthers.
I can't either.
But Dave Canales deserves a hell of a lot of credit.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Bryce Young threw 2 touchdown passes on 4th down for 30-plus yards on both of them. And as a Ted McMillan fantasy owner, that was sweet. But Stafford, they turned it over 3 times, a pick 6, a fumble that would have tied the game if they took the field goal.
I know we want to talk about how Lamar Jackson had a bad week with all of his turnovers, and then here comes Matt Stafford just throwing 2 picks and fumbling the ball. Like, it's just crazy.
And Bryce Young was 3 touchdowns, no picks, like 15 for 20.
Yeah, had a career day.
Like,
makes no sense.
I don't get it, but it leads to the question:
who do you have? If I had to bet who was winning the Super Bowl or even going to the Super Bowl, I would have no idea who I'm picking.
Well,
and I think that there's some people out there who be like, oh well, New England has one of the best records in football, but even when I look at this and I kind of just went through the gamut here on who the Patriots have actually played this season. Look, they're 9-2, but the opposing quarterbacks that they've played have been Geno Smith, Spencer Rattler, Cam Ward, Dylan Gabriel, Michael Penix Jr., Bryce Young, Justin Fields, and Andy Dalton. That game was weird. Justin Fields, Joe Flacco, Tua, Aaron Rodgers, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen. They're 9-2. Only 2 of those teams, or 2 of those quarterbacks are going to be in the playoffs. So, like, New England could very easily be a one-and-done team because they haven't really played anybody worth a damn.
So this is the part, Zach, what we're going to discuss. So we'll take out the NFC because I still think Rams, Seahawks, and even for the Eagles being whatever, they're going to be in the discussion because their defense, as long as they don't give up a million rush yards.
Their offense sucks.
It's so wildly wild that they can't figure it out. But let's talk about the AFC because that's truly, like, we can say 4 teams in the NFC and you'd be like, okay. And the Bears are the 1 seed right now that no one buys. But,
nope, not buying.
But Ben Johnson's taking off the tarp, baby. Ben Johnson, when you take that is fun. Tarps are off, baby. And
I love Ben Johnson.
And they said, like, one place in Chicago is giving out free dogs. So think about a semi-pro. It's like corn dogs, Jackie. It's, in this case, it's hot dogs, Ben. Hot dogs for all these people. Ben Johnson has changed the culture there, which I'm happy for Chicago fans. AFC side, to the point. Patriots, the Giants game tonight is going to be very fascinating. I'm really curious to see. I think that the Pats win this, but I think the Giants, they're known they're going to make it interesting, and then they'll lose. That's just what they've done. But the rest of it, you just saw the Broncos almost lose to Marcus Mariota. In overtime, the Broncos have played, I think, 9 straight games Or sorry, they played 3 straight games decided by 3 or fewer. Did I read that correctly?
I mean, like I said, the Broncos have this weird thing where they can't blow anyone out, but they play horrible football. This was a classic Broncos game. It was 3/4 of this might be a horrendous football team, and then it was like Bo Nix does a few things and like goes on a game-winning drive that became a game-winning drive because Benito's arms were in the right place at the right time. So it almost felt like, yeah, I agree. You can't trust them. I'm going to say this, take it with a grain of salt. If assuming the playoffs start today, so I'm not including the Chiefs in that, if I had to put my money on who represents the AFC, it'd be the Buffalo Bills.
I would actually probably agree with you to an extent because of what did the Bills realize when they need to do it? Hey, we need to run the football. And they've acknowledged that. Like, hey, we're going to run the football and good things are going to happen.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. I don't agree with this sentiment, but I understand what this guy was saying online. Of course, everyone's got an opinion. But one guy, when he was talking about with Lamar Jackson and in the playoffs and how things are, the talent of Lamar is not in question. Nothing of the talent of Lamar is overrated. He's unbelievable. But you know what gets magnified in the playoffs is not making a big mistake. Yeah. And if you watch the Bills game last year, you can look at the drop by Mark Andrews, fine. But what happened else in that game? They had an interception earlier. They had the fumble by Mark Andrews earlier in the game. And Josh Allen, they were like, well, Josh, what? Fumble by Lamar, but everyone's going, well, Josh Allen, he didn't do anything. Well, great. Josh Allen didn't make the mistake. That's why they won the game. And in the postseason, you either have to elevate your game like Mahomes will make the big play, which he's done, or a guy like Jalen Hurts throughout all those. Jalen Hurts last year, what did he do? He didn't make the mistake. And he let his strength of it, we're going to run the ball. And their team was so dominant, right? They were so dominant offensively on that offensive line. Their defense was ferocious. But I think it just goes back to the point, the team that is true to their identity and makes the least amount of mistakes is going to win the AFC.
And I think actually that's Denver.
You think Denver, you still take Denver?
I'm going to take Denver only because defense wins championships and Josh Allen does make a lot of mistakes. He's a turnover machine. Sometimes he can make up for those, and we saw that in the Buccaneers game earlier this season. But we also saw where the turnovers come back and bite them in the butt. Yeah. Like the Bills are flawed. If their run game works, they can run all the way through to the Super Bowl. But they got to run through some really good defenses. The Jaguars have a good defense. Mm-hmm. Denver has a really good defense, and they figured out how to win games even with some of the mistakes that they've made. That Denver defense is no joke, and I don't think that the Bills offense is good enough to overcome that unless they figure out how to run through that defense. I just don't think they're good enough to do that.
I'll say this, and this is where,
and Houston's defense.
So this is what I was about to say. Houston goes to Kansas City next week for Sunday night.
Yeah.
Raps.
If Houston wins that game, they are my new favorite in the AFC because that defense is lethal.
Yeah.
And they still are. CJ Stroud just came back. They didn't play a clean game, but here's the numbers for the Colts or for the Texans over this period of time. CJ Stroud got knocked out against the Broncos in that game. They lose 18-15. They beat the Jaguars and come back, and CJ Stroud didn't play in that game. You survived the Titans. You beat the Bills. And you beat the Colts. During this stretch of time, the Jaguars was that weird game. I think there was a kick return touchdown as well. Overall, here's numbers that they've allowed versus top teams. San Francisco, 15 points. The Seahawks game, I believe they had it was some ridiculous number. Their defense, I think, scored their touchdowns or set things up, if you guys watched that correctly. Darnold was awful that game.
Yeah.
That's a good team. They obliterated the Ravens. We saw that earlier this year.
Yep.
Tampa Bay was week 2 where they gave up 20 points, but this is the team. And by the way, they lost to the Rams to start the year 14-9 out in LA. I think that they've gotten better. If they beat Kansas City, they play the Cardinals, the Raiders, and then they got the Chargers and Colts to finish it out. I think Houston could run the table if they beat Kansas City.
You want to hear my take? and I actually talked about this last week on Kevin and Zach React, so then it got reassured this week. My hot take last week on Kevin and Zach React, the Indianapolis Colts are going to miss the playoffs. They're not a good football team, especially Sauce Gardner, him out the next few weeks.
That's a big deal.
I mean, they play Jacksonville twice over the next few weeks. I'm going to assume they have a split there. Then you're at Seattle. You're facing San Francisco on Monday Night Football. And then you fit, and this is where it comes down to. You finish the season, Week 18, this is going to be for a playoff spot at Houston. I agree with you. I think Houston's defense they are exactly what we always joke about of like, what would happen if the Browns had even a half-decent offense? It's Houston.
Yeah.
It's like if you just have a dominant defense and you just are like, hey, CJ, could you find like 17 to 20 points somewhere?
Just
throw
it to Nico.
Yeah, throw it to Nico.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like just find a way. Woody Marks, it's all fight tweet, leads the league in injuries per game. I swear at least once a week I see he's left the field with an injury and like 2 plays later he's just back in.
Yeah.
That Texans team is good. Daniel Jones, sorry, Cinderella. Clock has struck midnight. He looks like the pumpkin again.
Yeah.
And
apparently he's playing banged up. There's reports out there that he has some sort of hairline fracture of his fibula.
And he still played.
Played, so you don't know. But the Colts, exactly what you said right now. The Colts schedule, 8-4 Jags, 9-3 Seahawks, 9-4 49ers, and 7-5 Texans. Houston is the worst team record-wise on there. And this is what scares me about Houston. It's not even that their defense can travel. If you have to go play in Houston, that defense is on a whole different level.
Mm-hmm.
Watching the Bills play the Texans there on that Thursday night game, that was one of the most dominant performances I had seen. And the reason why it was so close is Davis Mills, while admirable, and they made comebacks, CJ Stroud, it's a huge step up there.
Yeah.
And so, damn, the Texans defense, and I see it, Daniel Hunter and Will Anderson Jr., those guys are dogs. And if it's true they have 21.5 sacks combined, the crazy thing is that Myles Garrett almost has that by himself.
Yes.
But that team is so damn tough defensively. And in the postseason, defense and an offensive identity. And that's why if the Chiefs were to get in, I trust the identity of Mahomes, but I have a tough time with them winning. I have a tough time with them beating some of these teams right now. They gotta. God, I forgot about who the Chiefs have to play.
I don't think the Bills honestly have a chance of. I think they could be very easily a one and done team making it into the playoffs.
I think any team in the AFC could though.
That's the argument.
I think you could legitimately make an actual argument. I know we just kind of hyped up their defense a little bit and stuff. I'm so out on the Jags still.
Their defense is good.
The defense is good, but Trevor Lawrence.
I was going to say it's like they don't play the opposing team. It's like their defense is like, we're setting you up well, and Trevor's like, what if I give it to the other team here though? And they're like, don't do that. Why did you do that? And then he's like, it's okay. And then he goes and makes the wildest throw you've ever seen, and you're like, that's the number one pick.
Yeah.
That's it. That's why we drafted
the generational talent. And then the next he just throws it right to the defender. You're like, nope, Trevor, last drive.
Yeah.
I just can't trust them in a big playoff situation.
He's turnover.
We saw it happen against the Chargers.
He's turnover prone. He's turnover happy. They almost lost to the Cardinals because Trevor Lawrence literally threw it to the other team.
Yeah.
It was literally like I watched the pick yesterday when Bo Nix threw it right to Bobby Wagner, which he could have been a statue and it would have been picked. Like it was Bobby Wagner was sitting here like this. It was like red. Again, I like to go back to Happy Gilmore where it's like 62. There you are. And he's just sitting there like, thanks. Trevor Lawrence, if you go back and watch the Cardinals game, it's like he goes, I'm going to let this one eat. And he throws it. And as soon as he throws it, you sit there and go in the replay, that's not your receiver. That's another player on the other team.
Yeah.
He's right there. Why would you throw that? But it happens over and over and over again. If they lean on the run game, they'll have a better chance, but that's why you don't trust them. And this is why Baltimore, as frustrating as it is, personnel-wise,
still has a chance.
They have a chance because here's the thing. You play the Broncos, you might trust their identity. Would it be a close game if they played Denver and Baltimore? I think it would.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think You think the Ravens?
Not the way that the offense is playing. That defense is going to absolutely dominate the offensive line. That's what Denver's really good at right now. Their defensive line is very good. So if they can't run the ball, they're definitely not going to throw it well because the offensive line for the Ravens is just that terrible.
I just think that Denver is this anomaly because their defense is that good, and yet yesterday they had the lowest pressure rate of any team in the NFL on any game this season.
But the Commanders have actually had a decent offensive line, especially as of late. They ran the shit out of the ball 2 weeks ago.
They did, but I think that's the part. If the Ravens run the football, if the Ravens say Derick Henry, if Derick Henry gets 20 touches a game, I don't care what happens. If he gets 20 touches a game, you think the Ravens have a chance to win?
Yeah, they have a chance to win. I'm not saying that, but
I think
they have to actually do it, and they haven't proven that they can or will.
I think that's my part right there. Is you put Baltimore up against any team. I think the team that would actually be an awful matchup for would be going to Houston. If the Ravens have to go to Houston, that is terrifying.
Well, Houston already manhandled them once.
That
in Baltimore, by the way.
The ass
missing a lot. I agree. I do think it would be obviously closer than that just because of the magnitude of Kyle Hamilton being out, all of them. I think the defense Ravens wise would look better, but I agree. I don't know how the Ravens offense.
That's the worst. That's the worst matchup nightmare, I think, for the Ravens.
I will say though, I keep saying this. It would be objectively hilarious for just how piss poor the Ravens offense has been, and just as a team, just at times this entire regular season. If this is the year that they actually turn it on in the playoffs.
I know, right?
He and Kevin talk about
honestly, that would be like
this is the funniest possible year for them to go on a run and win it all.
It would make all the sense in the world because the last two times the Ravens went to the Super Bowl and won, they also had horrific.
Yeah,
regular
Ravens can't
season.
win as a juggernaut.
Well,
they have to have people give up on them.
Yeah.
The Ravens in 2012 actually they got off to a humming start. If you guys remember, they were off to a great start and then
got real rough.
They got real rough, and then they went to Houston and got taken behind the woodshed and lost by 1 million.
JJ Watt kicked Joe Flacco's ass.
Oh my God! I think they lost by 30 points.
Yeah.
It was such a bad loss. And then they beat the Giants, I think, at home to clinch the division. They're like, oh, okay, we'll take a deep breath. And then Ray Lewis, this is my last ride. And then whammy.
Yeah.
Anquan Bolden, we talk about Joe Flacco. Anquan Bolden went on a bender of a postseason, him and Dennis Pitta, and the Ravens pulled it off.
Well, what, like 2000 Ravens, I think they won 4 or 5 games on field goals alone.
Yeah, they didn't score a touchdown for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
I will say, though, every time it is one of those things where it's like, history revisionist. Every time I go back and watch the highlight reel, the 5-minute highlight reel of Joe Flacco's 2012 playoff run, I'm like, wow. In the moment, I did not realize how many of these massive moments and massive plays were just Anquan got to be down there somewhere. And Anquan Bolden going over like 4 dudes and just ripping the ball down on the sideline. And you're like, hell yeah, Anquan.
That's a good strategy right
there. There were
there.
a lot of Hail Marys that just
honestly, I could see that with like a Lamar and D-Hop situation. And Lamar's actually said that. Like, he's one guy, he just can chuck it down there and like he's just going to get the ball somehow.
Having DeAndre Hopkins on this team has been so nice because
I think he still gets underutilized.
Without a doubt he does. But it's just literally like I can tell because he doesn't get on the field as much, obviously. I will call it out while watching where he'll be on an island down low in a 3rd and like 5. And I'm like, they're not going to look anywhere else. And Lamar just hikes it, turns, stares down D-Hop, throws it somewhere close to him. And D-Hop just casually grabs it over the guy, walks out of bounds. It's like, all right, still got it.
Yep.
Okay.
So there's certain guys when they're covered, they're still not covered. And D-Hop's one of those guys. He could have 0 separation, but he's probably coming down with the ball.
Yeah.
And I think that is important to know which guys you have on your team and taking those risks. I would even argue that watching.
He's not going to fumble it like Zay. That's for damn sure.
When I watch, we talked about George Pickens. Like that's the part. Even I think Pickens. Obviously, if we're talking Pickens Metcalf, I like Pickens upside and playmaking skills. But DK Metcalf is a freak of nature. The fact that they don't say, hey, we're just going to throw it up to you and see if you can make a play, it's not a bad strategy to do that. But overall, to wrap it up, this is how wide open the AFC is, that you can make a case for multiple teams. And this is unlike, years in the past. And right now, if the season were to end, you're looking at the Bills barely getting in. The Ravens
might not make it.
But if they do, they're scratching and clawing. The best quarterbacks in the conference, potentially, the Bills with Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, the Ravens, Joe Burrow with the Bengals, and Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs. The best quarterbacks in that conference might not even be in the postseason. And I think that's the telling part here. So if that's going to be the case, yeah, the AFC is going to continue to be wide open. And if you are new to this channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Well, the team that is leading the AFC, the New England Patriots, they play tonight against Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
And the New York Giants. You know what? They are entertaining. It is something. Don't feel good about them. But why don't we get to Bolly's Bet by taking a quick trip up to our friends at Hollywood Casino and Charlestown Races in West Virginia. That was pretty good. Look at that little.
Yeah, well, we're all in studio.
Was that better than me trying to sing earlier?
100%.
Okay.
Without a doubt. Yeah. So, what was my last one? I think I hit it.
You have so many.
I think you did.
I feel, yes, because I remember, I think I texted you and was like, it was a first half cash.
You did text me that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're trying to stay hot. Giants historically bad against the run. Just feed your rookie. Feed the rookie. Trevion Henderson over 62.5 rushing yards. Big win for the Ohio State boys on Saturday. I'm sure he's still fired up. So hand him the ball. And I think the biggest thing for the Patriots in a game like this is it doesn't matter if you win by 50 or 3. You want to stay healthy because that offensive line has taken some hits over the past few games. Stay healthy, hand the ball off, get out of there with the win, and hopefully let's get out here with the cash. So, Trevion Henderson, over 62.5 yards. Lock it in.
So with Stevenson back last week, Henderson still 8. He didn't get the tutties, but he still got the carries. So you buy the opportunity. Talented rookie. I hope he doesn't go too crazy. I in the big money league for me right now, I'm up 22.5 in half PPR. I would prefer that Henderson doesn't go that crazy. Yeah.
I say no touchdowns.
Yeah. Oh, 63 yards.
Yeah.
That's it.
6.3.
That's it. That's all we need.
Yeah. Easy. Yeah.
We don't need, but the Giants did face Jahmyr Gibbs last week, who had about 400 yards. And that's not like an exaggeration. I think literally. His all-purpose yards was something that reminds you of, yes, Jahmyr Gibbs is that good, but holy hell.
I know as we wrap up, but one final thing, because I've seen it debated recently. Who is the better running back, best running back in the league right now, Jahmyr Gibbs or Jonathan Taylor?
Oh, man.
Gibbs.
All around?
All around. Who's the best player?
Gibbs.
Oh, my goodness.
I won't lie. I have both in different leagues, obviously. But
I was about to say,
humble
brag.
Yeah,
right
yeah.
there.
I was going to say, I was like, so I'm not biased.
It's Gibbs.
I think it is Gibbs, but like it's so close.
I think for a pound for pound runner, I'll take Taylor. Overall back.
Well,
give
so
me
running, yeah, I would probably give Taylor
overall,
runner, just
pound,
best football player.
But that's wasn't the question.
So
the question
all
was
around,
player.
all around, I'd take Gibbs.
Yeah,
all around, I'd take Gibbs because he can do everything that you want, and he's a house call. Jonathan Taylor, pound for pound runner. That's him with the home run ability, but he doesn't have the same pass catching.
No.
He can, but Gibbs is too dynamic. That dude is
too
so
shifty.
explosive.
He's not he's way more shifty than Jonathan Taylor.
Shirts and pants, man. He is a beast. I actually traded back in the draft and chose not to select Gibbs.
Oh.
But this team that I have most points in the league in the big money. Hey, how you doing? It's the LLL is what it's the short, the abbreviation for it. I took Genty in London, which I survived the beginning to have the most points in the league. Genty was top 12 back. Drake London is still wide receiver 7, and he's missed 3 games.
Yeah.
Because what the Falcons do? They're like, we have a top 5 running back and wide receiver. Here's our strategy. We're going to just give them the ball. That's something that I think in Baltimore, Derick Henry get the football. But if you're tailing Bali, Good luck, 62.5. We believe in you, kid. And we believe in all of you, and we appreciate our friends up at Hollywood Casino at Charlestown Races up in West Virginia. We have a split on that. Jonathan Taylor and actually
I think it's close. I do think it's close.
they're good. They're really good. So, guys, to finish this out, the last thing that was kind of wrapping up our weekend, Brad, I know it had you to chuckle. It got you laughing. The Browns, what's crazy is Shedeur Sanders made his first start. They lost to the 49ers, but it's really not talked about because Browns didn't win the game, and it wasn't that Shedeur played
terrible.
He didn't play bad, didn't play great. It was just an indifferent because they just didn't do enough, and the 49ers were the better team. But it was the post-game conversations that caught the attention of you. And it was Shelby Harris was calling out Juwan Jennings, the wide receiver for the San Francisco 49ers. Do we have that clip in here?
I don't see it.
Well, essentially Shelby Harris's quote was, so we're not going to pull up that video, it was just saying, I want the world to know that Jennings is a hoe. That was like the exact quote. And he was saying that he was saying things that you don't say to another man. And the reason this is brought up is that Jennings last week got hit in the nuts by the safety for, was it Trevor Morrig?
Yes. Yeah.
So he got hit. So Trevor
punched in the nuts.
Jennings.
This was not a football play. This was after the final kneel down, a swift punch.
And apparently he might have deserved it.
And so Shelby Harris just said it in there about, I realized that why that guy got punched in the nuts and said, I'm surprised that guy hasn't been punched in the jaw.
We do have Myles Garrett commenting on this as well, though. We do have that clip.
Let's play that real quick.
Well, I can't speak for how he was raised, but if you have nothing good to say, don't say something to somebody. So he had a lot to say that was demeaning and disparaging towards some of our players, and I was just trying to separate everybody. And I tried to go up and ask what the problem was, and then he started coming at me. And some guys just roll like that.
So essentially he's saying, I can't speak for how, if you have nothing good to say, don't say it at all. And
Can't speak for how he was raised.
About how he was raised. And Shelby Harris also was saying that Jennings was talking smack and then hid behind his offensive lineman. That's
a wide receiver move.
So that was what he was alluding to.
They all do that shit.
But I just love the fact that it was just like blatantly out there.
Oh,
saying
he's a hoe.
That
I could think of better adjectives.
Big news cycle for the word hoe.
Yeah,
over the past,
I know.
72. We had Lane Kiffin's a hoe, can't turn a housewife into or a hoe into a housewife. Shelby Harris is saying that Juwan Jennings is a hoe. A lot of hoeage in footdall.
Speaking of hoeage, I know this wasn't going to be part of the show. But did you get
space when you just said that?
Speaking of hoeage, you didn't know where I was going with this?
I still don't know where you're going with this.
Starts with Andy Reid. Did you guys see Andy Reid?
Yes, that was the weirdest quote you could have
ever. I have the video.
Oh gosh.
So Andy Reid, we're just going to stick with the whole team. This needs no introduction. This is just Andy Reid being interviewed, talking about how, they need to win out, basically to save their season, and this was his response.
I'm sure you've looked at the standings. This isn't your first rodeo. You know that you pretty much have to win the next 5 games. If you lose one, you're going to need a lot of help to get into playoffs. What's your level of confidence that things can start going your way and that you can win these next 5 games in a row?
Yeah, well, I believe that. I mean, I believe if you're coming to me on this, Matt, I'm telling you, we're going to go after you every game. And, that's how we roll. We're going to try to tickle your tonsils on every play, every game.
I'm sorry, what? We're going to tickle your tonsils every play?
What?
Is Andy Reid a hoe now, too?
It just like there was no thought.
What?
Like that came out so like that's
We're going to tickle your tonsils every play. We're gonna ram our dicks right down your throat.
Okay. Now what, heel cinnamon. We were.
Well, he's got to be like.
What else did that mean? What else did
like,
that mean?
he's
You tell me,
definitely
Rip. Tell me, Rip, right now. What else
like
he meant by that?
Hey, we're gonna run the ball down your throat type thing, and like we're gonna. But just the way, like the word, the tickle your tonsils. It's just not really. I just feel like he could have been like, we're gonna play some really tough football. Like
anything else.
You're gonna
raise an eyebrow when you see us play.
We're gonna make you uncomfortable. Like I just
You're gonna
feel like tickle your tonsils.
when we play you every play.
Tickle your tonsils.
I'm
What
trying.
are we doing, Andy?
I can't wait
He
for
was
this
just
to be.
thinking about those post-game burgers. Maybe that's what it was.
Just
You
tickle
okay?
them tonsils.
You okay over there?
Just trying to visualize.
So I
love making Rip feel uncomfortable with this.
you
shit.
know, I was just trying to come up with like what's another way to define what he was talking about, and I'm having a tough time. I'm having a very
because I said it for you.
No, you didn't. Well, you were doing some acting, some voice acting
No,
over
I said
there
it before,
as well.
before all that.
I'm aware, but then you just all right. You know what? We've had a show. Okay. On that note,
oh,
sugar. Well, you know what, guys? It's Cyber Monday. It's a good way to end the show here to circle back around. Merit Clubs, we appreciate you. You know, I can't say it.
Yes, you can.
No, I was gonna say
Yes, you can.
No, I don't want to because you're gonna turn it into a meme, and I don't know if I want you to do that. Oh, Hammy got tight though. Woo! Oh, you know what tickles my tonsils is that cyber deal that Merit Clubs has going on right now. $1. $1 for the rest of the year if you join Merit Clubs. Check out meritclubs.com for more information. It's Cyber Monday, $1 to join for the rest of the year. And Zach, how do you spell $1?
MERRITT.
We appreciate you and we appreciate Merit Clubs. And goodness gracious, I need to get out of here.
My bad.
That was sugar. I need to go take a bath, take a shower, tickle my tonsils. All right. As always here on the Ryan Ripken Show, we appreciate each and every one of you. Have a day, have a night, have a great stinking rest of your Monday. And guess what? We'll be live at 5 tomorrow right here on the Ryan Ripken Show. Oh, sugar. Woo! Got a little toasty in here.